2016. So we are very happy to have you here with us. And he will talk about Leket Israel.
So thank you very much. First, I'm going to keep my life very, very simple as I like it, show you many video clips and talk a little less. That really keeps it running.
Picture all of the food wasted around the world, ending up in the same place. This would be a great land, the richest in the world, filled with only good things. A place where billions of tons of fresh, quality food would end up each year. Every high-quality discarded restaurant meal would be served. Every shopping cart filled with food purchased and then thrown away would roll in. Unfortunately, this tremendous abundance will never be eaten by anyone. In the real world, food waste is a critical problem. 1/3 of all food produced, thrown away. 45% of fruit and vegetables, 30% of grains, and 20% of dairy and meat products never reach anyone's plate. Food that could have fed more than 1 billion people in need. In Israel, half of all the food wasted can be saved. Leket Israel works to rescue it through collection and redistribution of surplus food from the agricultural, catering, restaurant, and hotel sectors. All this to bring nutritious, quality food to people who don't have anything to waste. If you want to learn more, visit leket.org or Leket Israel on Facebook.
So good afternoon to everyone. I think this clip describes a worldwide challenge, and it is how we're going to feed 9 billion people around 2050. One of the solutions that we're showing here is actually food rescue. And this short clip shows that 30 to 40% of the food manufacturers is actually wasted. Food that can feed those in need now and in the future as well. In Israel, it's exactly the same situation as in all the modern world, or the Western world, or actually everywhere in the world, as we heard before. Same percentage goes to landfills and waste, and we're trying to solve a social problem and creating an environmental problem, ecological problem with this. 19.3 billion new Israeli shekels are thrown away, discarded every year worth of food. That's 2.4% of the Israel GDP. 2.3 million tons of food. That's the equivalent of the 19.3 billion shekels. Even if only 50% of this food is fit for human consumption, we are still throwing away more than 3 times the monetary value of the problem in Israel. The food insecurity problem in Israel is estimated to be at a net value of 3 billion shekels, and we're still throwing away the minimum half of the 19 or 11 billion shekels, which is edible. If we want to solve the problem with food rescue, we need a quarter of these sums. 870 million shekels will solve the food insecurity gap in Israel. But that is only because of the multiplier. In food rescue, we have a multiplier of 1 to 4. For every 1 shekel, dollar, pound, whatever currency denomination you want, we can actually manufacture 4 times the amount in food value. And this actually what brought us to the urban model. This is not in theory. This model actually works. It works in Jerusalem. It works in Rishon LeZion. And what we're proving is that every city actually has surplus food sources. And these surplus food sources can be hotels, corporate cafeterias. The IDF is a huge source of food for Leket Israel. And we're talking now about rescuing prepared food or cooked food. In France and Italy, where the law was passed regarding restaurants and supermarkets, that can be a valuable resource as well. Cooked food is nutritious. It has all the proteins that people are looking for. but we're also supplying fresh produce. Fresh produce can come from a variety of sources. Of course, from the farms. Leket Israel picks at about 500 farmers every year, about 2,000 picking cycles a year. With today's initiatives, such as rooftop gardening, community gardening, it's also available to grow fresh produce in the city itself. In Dizengoff Center, which is not really far away from here, there's an initiative within the mall that they grow greens and sell it on to restaurants and to, I don't know, I'm not sure about supermarkets, but definitely sell it on to supermarkets. So there's a chance with an urban model even for a business. The food is actually collected and then moved on to a central hub. In the central hub, it's cooled, stored, delivered later on, and the hub itself receives food guidance from Leket Israel. It receives infrastructure support such as refrigeration, ovens to reheat the food that is reheated the next day and serviced, and also nutrition education. It's also very important to mention that these hubs, and of course other places, other soup kitchens, are a source for volunteers. So we're actually bringing all the community in for one specific idea or ideal is to use the food rescue, or rescue more food. The food in itself goes to soup kitchens. Leket Israel services these hubs, and then the hubs reheat the food, and the following day they send it off, distribute it over to special ed schools, high schools, youth at risk centers, and of course the soup kitchens where they deliver the food. In Jerusalem itself, we're serving over 1,000 meals every day. Whatever is not consumed that day is discarded, and the cycle repeats itself day after day, year-round. The cost in itself of the food delivered to these soup kitchens or schools is about 1/10 of the retail price. Just because there's no money going around, no financial transactions, we do not purchase the food and we do not charge for the food. So it's 1/10 of the actual value. That is the cost of food rescue in this case. And the hub, as I said, also provides a great learning experience and volunteering opportunity. And at the end of the day, it's all about the community coming together, I think. Rescuing food, volunteering, taking care of one another with local government involvement, it's an amazing opportunity to solve a challenging problem and a basic human right, which is food. The impact is actually tremendous. We're measuring the impact as well, because at the end of the day, we want to show the impact, or we want to create an impact on the society, on the community. And I think this next and last clip will actually show you what the impact is.
אני נועם לוזון, בן 17. מגיל 14.5 אני בעצם מממן את עצמי. כשבאתי לבית ספר, אמרו לי שאין לי בגרות. אמרתי, אני לא מוותר לעצמי. הלכנו ועשינו שיחה עם המנהלת. היא אמרה לנו, יש אפשרות כזאת שנעשה בגרות מלאה. במקום עבודה אתם תגיעו ללמוד. יש לפחות 10 מיליון יהודים בעולם כולו. בשעה 12:30 יש לנו ארוחה מלקט ישראל. אוכל כמו של בית, טעים
This is all rescued food.
כשהגוף שלי שבע, אני יותר מצליח לשבת על הכיסא עד השעה 4 ולהשקיע.
לפני לקט ישראל לא היה לנו ארוחות צהריים. תלמידים פה היו נשארים רעבים. יש פה תלמידים שמסיימים את היום לימודים ולא מחכה להם איזו ארוחה בבית. הארוחה שלהם היא בבית הספר.
ובינתיים אנחנו בדרך הנכונה, ותכף מסיימים כיתה י"ב עם בגרות מלאה בעזרת השם. עכשיו אני רוצה להגיע לסיירת מטכ"ל, וזה בעצם אחת השאיפות שלי, לעשות שירות משמעותי.
And I think that's the impact. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gidi. Our next speaker is Dr. Andrea Magarini. He is affiliated with the Milan municipality and he is the coordinator of the Milan food policy and also a researcher on city region food systems. So Dr. Magarini will be talking about integrated institutional actions of the city of Milan in food losses and waste management. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for this invitation. I will do my best to be concrete and inspiring. My contribution is oriented to explain how the city of Milan address, organize and planning several actions in the field of management of food losses and food waste. In 2014, the City of Milan started with the strategic support of the Cariplo Foundation and of the Star Research Center to study its local food system, to study its food system in order to define a specific local food policy. And among 5 priorities, we create a specific interest, a specific focus on food losses and waste. And the approach that we used was oriented in order to aggregate a lot of factors, and we think that is one of the key of our successful. And among these the actions, the most important and also the last one that we deliberate